Let's unmute first. That's a good start. Hello and welcome to the August 2019 Sunshine Summit. My name is Heather and I am your host. This week, in association with Geeks Rising, I'm bringing to you a week of live streams to recognize and celebrate connections. This week, we've been going live for 4 days now. This is day 5. And my guests today, I am honored and so grateful that they are both able to make it in person to be here with us live. So without further ado, welcome to the Sunshine Summit, or welcome back, I should say, to the Sunshine Summit, Lisa and Sam. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Good.
Thank you
so
both.
Good to be back.
Yay! That's good. It's been a whole year. You were part of the August 2018 Sunshine Summit, and here you are again. It is an honor and so exciting that you wanted to be part of it. And as we're going to hear today, it's really great, and I'm grateful that you're able to make it. So,
well, we're grateful too. Yeah.
And as part of the Sunshine Summit, the sun is shining in Canada for you today.
It is.
Yeah, it's also shining here, and we've had like a week of terrible weather, so I'm glad the sun is shining around the world for this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know and hasn't seen it, go back and check the other live stream with Lisa and Sam. It was a lot of fun, and they shared a lot of their connection stories there, and you'll probably hear a recurrent theme through this one because they are still important connections that they hold on to. One of the ones off the top of my head is the HGG, who is a super supportive person and important person of the Lisa and Sam, I Shake My Head with Lisa and Sam podcast. So we've got some amazing people in the chat. We've got Stephanie, we've got Anthony, Tim, American Liberty. Welcome, everybody. If you have any questions, let us know. But Lisa and Sam, you podcast from your car. That is one of the key elements of your show, and you're in the car today with us live.
We're in the car right now as we speak. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you've just got done recording for your show, so that's really cool.
We did. We just did our weekly podcast just before we came on with you. Yeah.
Awesome. And along the way, you've done a few new things. You've been able to do live streams from the car too. So
we have you.
Yeah, a fun way of connecting with everyone. We've got Millie120 in the chat. Hi. She says, "Hey, ladies, good to see you all."
Hey, hello.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. So some of the connections that we talked about last time were the How We Connected, which was amazing, and you're a part of the Podfix Network, which is a group of amazing people. We had Chris Green earlier in the week from the Gravity Beard podcast, which is also a part of that. And back in March, we had the Two Girls on a Bench joined us.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Cool. So I want to just quickly sort of talk about some of the new connections that you've made since August 2019 that have been a highlight for you through the podcast.
Sure. I think probably one of the biggest connections that we made this year was with a guy called the Quad Father. And he's really, really popular on social media and on Twitter and things like that. And I don't know, how would you explain that he stumbled upon us? A little regrettingly, I think, at first.
I guess he just heard about us through Twitter, maybe?
Maybe he came across us on Twitter.
That's usually how people who are part of their own podcast, they just stumble upon us and then they kind of go, in a car? Really? And then they listen to us and then we grow on them. They learn to love us, you know?
I think with him, I think he appreciated I think we surprised him. We actually went on his show. Okay. And we did a quiz, and it was who was the better friend, and Sam won that.
I did.
Right? I don't know if I agree, but Sam did win that quiz. But I think with him, I think what I think he found so surprising with us was that we're very, very. You need to lean in.
I'm leaning.
You gotta see. They gotta see us both.
Yeah.
Was that I think he was very surprised at our quickness, and at one point he actually thought that didn't he think we edited?
Oh yeah, people are always really surprised in our podcast that we don't edit. No. We just start and stop. That's it. There's nothing in between.
We let it go.
Yeah.
So
people are a little surprised.
So he's been a really good promoter too. Yeah. Because what he does is as he listens to your podcast and then he tweets out bits and he tweets out the timeline, right? And so then people, if they're interested, they could go back and if he thinks something's funny, then they can go back to a certain time and they can listen. So yeah, I mean he helps out. He helps out tremendous.
Yeah,
he's a great supporter.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a really thoughtful way of sharing when you listen to something and you find something fun, interesting, or helpful you want to share with other people. That is really cool to help other people make connections with you.
And the first time he stumbled upon us, he had 1 million questions for us. And I'm usually the face of Twitter, right? So he had 1 million questions. He wanted to know which one of us was which, and he still can't keep us.
No,
he still can't keep that separate.
Yeah.
He wanted to know, like, he just had so many. He was just so like, and you're in a car? Are you always in a car? Why are you in a car? And things like that, right? Yeah. So he just had a ton of questions. Our other big connection has been with Matt from the Nooks and Cranny podcast.
Yeah.
Because he's just what a beautiful human being he is.
Totally. Right? Absolutely. Through and through. He radiates goodness. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really does, right? So we went on his show and we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Right? Right. A lot of fun. He's a Canadian too, so it was kind of fun to do that in different parts of Canada and he's what a big supporter he is of everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he actually created through Spotify our own playlist.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like it was dedicated to us.
Yeah, songs that he thought we would like.
Yeah, because he knows that we were like teenagers in the 80s, so that was like the bulk of the music. So it was awesome. I listened to it all the time.
Yeah, me too. Hey?
That's like the modern version of making a mixtape, right? Making a Spotify playlist for someone. Yeah,
exactly. So he did that for us, and and then he put a couple of local, like we're from Saskatoon, right? So he put a couple of local musicians on there that are from our city and things like that. And he just, he's just a fun guy. So we've really appreciated kind of getting to know him too.
Yeah. He's very thoughtful and caring, and he's been going through a bit of stuff lately, and so it's been cool to see a bit of support pop out of the network from other podcasters and connections that he's made online. And he also shared a really sweet message about, it may have been about the Sunshine Summit or about me or something, and it warms your heart when you get to hear from him. And
yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's a good guy.
That is cool that you've made some new connections since then. How has the podcast grown in the last year?
Samantha?
To be honest, I think that we have
international superstars.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
We're not.
But
We're
we
not.
definitely have grown listeners because we get more interaction now through our social media. Yeah, we get some really great comments from people, and they have started to reach out to us in a way like they know who we are.
Yeah.
So like we're their friends automatically.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that really makes me kind of laugh, but it also warms my heart.
Yeah.
Because obviously how we talk to each other,
they
understand that our friendship is a long-standing one, and we just throw out some crazy stuff, and we just like to laugh and have a good time, and they feel like they've joined the club, kind of, so to speak. So
and I think with us, I think we had a really good conversation back probably last summer with Jessica Kupferman from the She podcast, and we were just talking to her, about how to grow our social media, right, and how to get it interactive, and she came up with some great ideas. So now we're just like very interactive, and I think that lots of people, are very receptive to that. So that's been a lot of fun.
They've become more vocal, which is really nice. Yeah. So
cool.
But another connection I need to mention is Robin Slim.
Oh yeah, the Robin Slim show.
The Robin Slim show. We've been on their show a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're a bunch of fun guys from Jersey.
They're funny guys, and they are not typically our audience at all, right? They're really not our audience, and nor are we anywhere near their audience. But for whatever reason, they caught on to us, and so they bring us on every couple of months to just kind of like see how little updates, see how things are. And
they're very fun. They're crazy guys, but the last time we were on, I was laughing so hard my stomach hurt. So.
I think when they bring us on, they do like a G-rated show.
Yeah, for sure.
So what is kind of the thing with it? Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, what is the theme of the Robin Slim show? What do they do?
What is their theme? Like they do lots of different themes. They bring on lots of different guests, but I would say they're definitely more adult material than what we certainly are.
Yeah.
And so definitely 100% that. So when they first and actually he was one of our very first. Robinson was one of our very first contacts on when we started podcasting. Oh, wow. And then just one day they're like, "Hey, you want to be on the show?" And it's like, "Okay." And so we were a little like we're a little bit afraid because it's like, right, right, because we're pretty cheesy and we're tame. We're pretty tame.
Yeah, you're safe for work.
Right, but it was a lot of fun, and then we did it again, and it was a lot of fun, and they're just a really good group of guys.
They are.
Right, I think they find us quirky, I think is what it is.
Well, on the note of that, like the relationship that you have with each other is one of the most important connections of your podcast. It's obviously how you're here together, and you have that ease of being quick with each other and coming up with funny things, and the stories that you share together is all a part of that. And it's very cool that you're able to connect with people who aren't typically in your audience and engage with them and have fun as well. So that is really cool. Steph in the chat, just going back to your comment about Jess Kupperman, she said she loves Jess. So that's awesome that Jess was able to help you with the marketing kind of things. And on that note, I noticed that some of your social media stuff, you've been doing like a teaser thing to pull them into the group to kind of find out what the actual thing is to help. I don't know if that's what you're doing, but it looks like it's what you're doing to try and get them in there and engage with it, which is really cool. And there have been some fun ones, possibly since last time, where you do like ask a couple of people to send in a picture of their pantry or their medicine cabinet, or if Heather doesn't read, she sends in another picture of her pantry because she didn't connect with the request properly.
That's right. Yes. Because you sent in. Yeah, you just sent in like any pantry. I remember sending a message back to you going, I think we were because what were I don't even remember now.
The medicine cabinet.
right? You just said like any cupboard in your home. And I'm like, we appreciate that, but that's not the one we're looking for. Right? Yeah, we do that. We need to do that again.
Yeah,
we haven't done that for a while. We've
fun.
done what's in your fridge, what's in your cupboard.
We like to get creepy that way.
Yeah, what's in your medicine cabinet. But it's funny, right? Because I mean, it's funny to see what people, like how people are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
people are very receptive to too, right?
Yeah.
People are, and it's cool to see like the different countries, like right, you in New Zealand, and like Stacy from Rough Draft, she's in London, so she'll send us, and it'll be like, oh, that's interesting, hey? Because we sometimes we talk those things here.
Lots of tea.
Yeah, the tea.
Yeah, it's an insight into people's personal lives and who they are, not just behind the mic, or behind the mic, I guess is what I mean. But I think I tried to come back with something like food is medicine too, but I totally didn't read the request properly, so that was on me.
Really good sport. You always participated every time we asked you to send stuff too. Yeah.
It is a lot of fun, and I love the conversations that happen around it when people do see and they kind of pick out those different things that they notice in the pictures. It's really cool.
Things. Everybody's got an opinion, and the thing is when we started it, we made it very clear that we're not judging. I mean, and of course we're judging a little bit, right? But we're not like maliciously judging anything or because half the time Sam's is the worst one ever.
Yeah, mine's always bad.
Right? Mine's always neat, and Sam's is always horrible.
Because you have an ADD.
I know, but it's always funny, right? Because that just shows again, right? Like the part of the uniqueness of our friendship, right? Is that too, right?
On the note of your friendship and going forward, this year you do the podcast regularly with each other. You spend a lot of time with each other, and kind of the big story that we wanted to share today is that you, Lisa, went through a huge journey just recently, and you were on a trip together, and then it was also a bit of a milestone for you. It was a birthday, so happy birthday, by the way, because I didn't get
Thank you.
Yeah, and then things changed, and I was just wondering if you'd be able to share that story, because there's a lot of connections that came in throughout that journey.
Yeah, for sure we can. So we had planned, I was turning 50. July 1st was my 50th birthday. So Sam and I grew up in Ontario, and Sam and I decided we were going to take 1 week of our 2-week vacations and go visit Ontario and visit my family and where I'm from and things like that. And we got to do a little bit of it. We went to Niagara Falls and had a blast, had a great time. And then we went to my sister's for my actual birthday. And what happened is that the night of my birthday, I was feeling perfectly fine. And I mean, we'd had too much sun, right? We'd been out sun tanning, and that's always a theme for us. Yeah. And what happened is that we went to bed, and we both were sleeping in the basement at my sister's, and Sam had one room and I had a different room, and it was like, good night, no big deal. And I went to lay down, and it felt like a fish tank blew up in my chest. And what was happening is I was drowning. I was having a heart attack. And Sam, thank God, she heard me coughing. And if she hadn't heard me coughing, I don't know what would happen. Well, I probably wouldn't be here. I probably would, because I wouldn't have been able to get any place to get the help. But so Sam heard me coughing, and she called 911.
Nope, Steph did.
Okay, but you knew enough that there was a problem.
Stuff was happening.
Yeah, stuff was going on, right?
Stuff was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
my goodness.
It was pretty crazy, and then of course I was like rushed to the hospital, and I just found out, I didn't realize that you were in the ambulance.
I was not.
Oh, somebody told me you were.
No, I was not.
Oh, sorry, I take that back.
No, we were standing outside the ambulance. They wanted nothing to do with us in the ambulance.
Somebody told me you were in the ambulance, and I'm like, I don't remember that.
I was not.
Okay. No. Okay, then I don't feel bad not saying sorry, I didn't say thank you. All I did was I heard her cough. It didn't sound normal. Didn't sound like a normal cough. And I went to check on her, and she was having a hard time breathing.
Yeah.
And she was still trying to cough and breathe at the same time.
Turning blue by the second.
And I asked if she was going to be okay, and she's like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden it was like, no, I'm not. Yeah. So I raced upstairs to get Steph, her brother-in-law, and wake him up. Yeah. And he came down, and we called 911 right away. And paramedics were great.
Yeah, it was crazy. I had no symptoms. I felt perfectly fine. I had no issues prior or anything at all.
Yeah.
But what we did learn from this is that women usually get jaw pain.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they throw up.
And I did both.
And she did both.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you don't throw up, but you're still throwing up.
Yeah, you're still throwing up.
Yeah. You know, and that was big because they don't really talk a lot about women's health or like about women's heart health. That you always hear men, right? And I had absolutely no chest pain whatsoever, like none. That wasn't the type of heart attack that I had. And then once I got into the hospital and I got stable, then like about a week after that, they did. You always hear bypass surgery, right? You always hear like a double or a triple or even a quadruple bypass. I actually had 6 done.
Wow.
I had to do 6 bypasses. Yeah, there was so much damage. My heart was so sick. My heart was.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's hereditary.
Okay.
Like my mom had issues, her dad had issues, but you still don't think at 50 when, don't get me wrong, right? I'm not saying I've ever been a picture of health, but I don't think that I was a picture of horrible health either. No. And at 50, you don't ever expect that. And it completely just it stopped everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, completely. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and then Sam stayed a few more days and made sure.
Yeah, I stayed the morning and into the afternoon.
Yeah,
of the following
you didn't go
day.
anywhere.
I didn't want to go anywhere because I just thought, in case doctors have questions and stuff, because nobody really, like your sister and brother-in-law, don't really know information about you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like I see them once a year, right? Yeah. Your best friend knows your business, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the nurses at the heart. I will say this: the Heart Institute in Ottawa is phenomenal.
Yeah, like if it was ever going to happen, it happened at the right place for sure.
Just the care, the attention, the doctor that you were dealing with was fantastic.
Yeah. One point they didn't think they were going to be able to help me. They thought that I was going to have to get a heart transplant.
Yeah.
It was that bad. And then they took a risk. They took a chance because of my age, and they said, no, you know what? She's too young. We can figure this out. And thank God that they did.
Yeah.
And so now I'm home, right? I mean, I've got like this going on. I still got issues.
Yeah.
I still have like 3 months of just getting better ahead of me. And, but at least I survived it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That is amazing. And it was out of the blue, and it's a really important thing to raise awareness about, so people know about the jaw pain and the throwing up, a different symptoms to what maybe men might have, and to keep in check maybe with your family history as well. But you didn't know it was going to happen, and it happened. And luckily you had Sam there, and she didn't let it go that you were coughing, and she went in to check on you, and then you're in the place where there was amazing support to deal with the heart attack.
Yeah, a lot of connections there.
Totally. American Liberty said scary in the chat, and Stephanie said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry this happened. I've read that the signs of a heart attack are different for women than a man, but never heard anyone talk about it before, so thank you for sharing this. So,
well, thank you. Yeah, it's just, you know what? I mean, it's just what happened, right? And that's all I thought is, I'm like, you know what? We don't know about this stuff. We just don't know, right? And there's not a lot. Everybody thinks it's so clutch your chest, not for women. Yeah. Right? It's just completely different. So, and the thing is too, is that if it is hereditary, if you do have a family history of it, you need to really be aggressive and talk to your family doctor, because there's only a certain test that can actually determine, an angiogram's the only test that can determine what the damage is. And that takes like a specialist to do, right? So you gotta be the squeaky wheel.
You definitely have to be a bit of a champion for your own health or your family's health if you have the history there, because otherwise it wouldn't happen. And you'd find out maybe too late, or hopefully in time, like you were able to get the 6th bypass. My goodness, what a huge operation.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
My mother-in-law said today that they were at their pharmacist's, and she was telling them about what happened, and the pharmacist corrected her and said, oh no, Hilda, not 6, you must mean 4. And my mother-in-law was like, nope, 6. The most you can do is the most they've ever done is apparently is 7. And when they came out, they supposed to do 4, but when they got in, they said, no, we better do 6.
Yeah. Gosh.
So crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that they had the capability of doing the 6 as well. Sorry.
Yeah.
And also amazing that Sam was there because she has that knowledge of you, that intimate knowledge of you to be able to share that information. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And if you're going to go through that, who else do you want there than your best friend, right?
Definitely.
And it was funny because when I could get a little bit of breath, I kept saying to the nurse, can you get Sam? Can you get Sam? Right? Even though I had some family members there, I'm like, can you get Sam? Right?
Yeah.
I am step on toes all over.
And I did.
Yes, you were.
Yeah. It's horrific that happened to you, but I am so glad that you were both together. You know, I know it put an end, like a abrupt change to your trip, but I'm just still super glad that you were both together for that. American Liberty said, "See, American Liberty said, see, even in surgery, you are super special."
That's right. Eh? Nothing. I go big or go home.
Yeah.
Right? Give them something to talk about.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Millie120 said, "True friendship shines through." It does.
Yeah, it does.
And
it does.
Sam, for you, did you have some support networks and connections and things that helped you get through this experience?
I did. I actually leaned on the HHG. She's part of our podcast, but she's a close friend for both of us.
Yeah.
And as soon as it started to happen, I actually texted her because she had been texting Lisa.
Yeah.
And I called her when I needed to talk because at one point I was a little bit scared, you know, and then my boyfriend who lives in New Jersey was also a great support. And then I called my mom.
Yeah.
When in doubt, right? Lean on mom.
Yeah.
So. And at one point, remember, I sent you a text a few days after when I was a little bit better, and I sent you a text like, "You need to talk about this stuff. You okay?" Right?
Yeah.
So we don't need to deal with this later. We can deal with this now. And you're like, "Oh, it's good." I'm like, "Okay."
I'm good. I had like great support,
Cool.
and actually, her sister and brother-in-law were great too. Very understanding people, and it wasn't about me, but I was really glad that I had people to, talk to and sort of say, should I ask this? Should I do that?
Yeah.
So it was great to have that support.
Yeah. I haven't been in that situation, but I can only try and imagine what it must have been like to have someone I love and care about deeply go through something that horrific. So amazing that you had that support there, and that Lisa's family were awesome, and that you had people you could reach out to, and that Lisa was trying to take care of you after the fact too and make sure you were all right.
That was all I could, right? Yeah. As soon as I could. I'm like, I got to check on Sam.
Yeah.
She checks on me and I check on G. So
yeah.
We're all
that is awesome. And as we know through podcasting, there can be amazing connections that we make, and I hear that a lot of cool support has come flooded out of the not woodwork necessarily, because they might have been there all along, but just there was a lot of support for you from the podcasting community.
Tons of support from the podcast community, you bet. So what we did is we knew because we're very active on social media, and we didn't know what was going to happen with our podcast, right? And we are proud to say we have to do 1 or 2 reboots.
I think we did 2,
but we recorded something for each one.
Yeah, we did,
right?
But my boyfriend John is a podcast editor, so he was generous enough to help us figure that all out. And he put things together for us, and we kept episodes coming out every week until she could, do a little bit of a podcast. And you've managed to do a full podcast for the last couple of weeks. So.
I have, and it was funny in the hospital because even though we were doing kind of like an old episode, but we still wanted to add a personal message, I talked to one of the nurses. And I said, I need to do this. And she's like, but you should be resting. I'm like, it's not going to take long. But I said, I need an area where like, I don't need people walking in and out for like 20 minutes. She's like, oh, okay, I can make that happen. I'm like, thank you. right? So even the nurses were like, and then we got 2 new fans out of the nurses.
Right. Cool.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's incredible what you managed to do amongst all of this, and keep connecting in that way with the podcast. That is incredible. Also, I think a couple of messages came out like as you were getting a little bit better, and it's like take your time. Like everyone was just wanted you to heal well, and so that you could be all that you can be.
Nobody was disappointed or or anything whatsoever. Hey, and that was 100% me, because I'm like, because it's so important to me and I enjoy doing it so much. So I'm like, I think we can do a little bit. Cool. Sam's like, okay. All right, but you need to rest. I'm like, I'll rest, I promise. My husband was like, serious? Like, yep, I'm serious, dude. I'm gonna try it. And he's like, okay. But yeah, no, people were so good, like so many good messages. And every time we'd post a picture or an update or something, people were fantastic.
That's very cool. I'm glad, because it's hard, like particularly for me here, it feels like even more of a huge distance between people when you can't be there physically, and so the only thing that you can do is send a little ray of sunshine through a message like that.
Absolutely.
But in-person connections that you had, a couple of people connected, or you made some reconnections with people.
Yes.
While you were in Ottawa.
It was so I'm from a small town in Ontario. That's where I grew up. And where I had my heart attack was about 6 hours away from there. And of course, right, everybody's on Facebook. So all your friends from high school are on Facebook. But you don't really like you keep in touch, but deep in your mind, you're like, you're never gonna see these people again, right? Like they're just not those friends. And it was funny, a couple days before my surgery, all of a sudden I looked out to kind of the hallway of my room, and then there was my friend Shannon Cox, who we were actually going to go visit. Yeah. Right, because she wanted to meet Sam, and I see her one time a year when we go, and she had driven 6 hours to come and visit me for maybe 20-minute visit.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had no clue that she was coming. All of a sudden, I'm like, holy, look at you, Shannon Cox, standing in the doorway. And that was amazing. And then another friend that was a really, really good friend of mine all through public school and high school. And keep in mind, right, I'm 50, so I haven't really had much to do with these people for 25 years. She lives in Ottawa, and obviously she read it on Facebook, and she's like, I'm coming to visit. And she came she came to Krista's house to visit. She came every single week to come and visit me. Wow. And we picked up a friendship just like as though it had never been missing.
That is awesome. That is so cool.
Yeah. And then we had Jenny, who Jenny Knott's she's been a really good friend of the podcast for a long time. And she's always sending us voice recordings, and I've done a couple face chats with her because she's like, I just need to see you're okay. All right, no problem. Because sometimes it's not just about me, right? Sometimes that's what I've learned is that like Sam met me at the airport. Like my husband Mike and I, we showed up at the airport. As there was Sam. She's like, I just needed to see that you're okay. I'm like, okay. And I've really learned that is that sometimes people just need that. Yeah. And you have to respect that.
Yeah. It's people experience things differently, feel things, and like they love and care for you. So of course they're going to be concerned for you, and just really awesome that some of the connections that you had in the past sort of resurfaced and were like dedication to drive 6 hours to see you for 20 minutes. I mean, not everyone would do that, but awesome that you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. And your dad came from Niagara Falls?
Yeah, so my dad and his wife came from Niagara Falls, and my sister Christy, she came from Calgary, Alberta. And the rest of my family was already there. And I mean, so it was just, I mean, Sam was already there. I know that if the HHG could have figured out how to get there, and I'm sure you guys had lots of conversations about how she could get there, but she had to work, right? She actually had to take over my job because all of a sudden, right, I can't do my job. So she actually had to step into my job. So I'm sure that if she could have been there, she would have figured out how to get there. So lots of visits. It was awesome.
Yeah. How long were you in the hospital for?
I was in the hospital from July 1st until, when was I want to say August. No, not August.
July
July 1st until my surgery was on the 22nd, and I was there for another 7 days after that. So almost to the end, almost a full month.
The end of July.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was worth it
It
that
is.
you're still here with us, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, small price to pay, right?
It would have been ideal had you not gone through that at all and your holiday had gone as planned and you'd gone up to visit. Yeah. Yeah. In terms of your passion for the podcast and carrying on, American Liberty said, now that is dedication.
Or a little idiotic, either or.
She crazy. It's okay.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to, though. Something
Exactly what it was, right?
To.
Sam's like, I think we need to take a break. I'm like, you can't take the one thing that I really want to look forward to each week away right now. Right? So we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Just got to balance it with actually healing and getting better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. American Liberty said you'd be great at doing an awareness PSA. And that's kind of what we wanted to do here, is to share that story, because it is hugely important. And I didn't want to put any pressure on Lisa and Sam if they didn't feel up to today. So that's why I said I'm super grateful that they're able to be here. And if at any time you need to wrap it up, let me know. But yeah, just to let others know what happened for you, because we don't hear about it all the time. It's not that common that people are having heart attacks, and what your symptoms were.
Or especially at such a young age. And 50's not young, but 50's still young.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So you said you've still got some healing left to go. You've still got months of.
Yeah, I've had a little bit of a setback. So I have. So when you get your heart surgery, they break your sternum, and they pull it apart, and then they put rods in to do your heart, and then they stitch it back together. So what happens is that they stitch it, you have inside stitches and outside stitches. So all the stitches, eventually they take them away, right? They get rid of them, which is fine. And then your chest is supposed to heal nicely, and life goes on. But what happened with me is that I developed an infection.
Okay.
And the infection's gotten worse. So I was a little concerned. Like 7 o'clock this morning, Heather, I was a little worried, right? Because I had home care in, and she was like, boy, this isn't good. And I'm like, okay, well, it needs to be. I got an appointment. I got something to do today. And and that was fine, right? So a little setback, but then you know what that just means? I need a little more rest.
Okay. Yeah. Infections are definitely connections we don't want.
You don't want that connection, no. Right? Exactly.
Nope.
Yeah. American Liberty said in the chat, 50 is young. We are just big kids now.
That's right, exactly. Hey? That's a good way to look at it. Let the fun begin.
Yeah.
Wait till next year when Sam and I go on holidays.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Is there any aside from the symptoms and things, is there any advice that you would have for people around the health element of it, or about how you coped with this whole situation that you could share with people?
I think first off, I think don't be afraid to ask your doctor.
Okay.
Right, to say to your doctor, I mean, if it's in your family, even if it's just one family relative, just to say, you know what, this is in my family and I have a concern, and, you know, pay attention to your body. And when I look back, there probably was some times where I was maybe a little more tired than I realized, and just different things, right, that you just chalk up to just life. But when you look back, you're like, oh, well, because my husband, he's quick to say, you know, remember how you used to always have a nap right after supper? And I'm like, yeah, so that might have been something, right? That just was kind of, you know, putting a little bit of, like, my heart was maybe hurting a little bit. I'd say don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask your doctors about it. Don't be afraid to engage in that conversation. I think they can do great things for people before it gets to this stage, for sure. Yeah. And I think that's really important. I think as far as handling it, I think, you know what, you got to be positive. And I think I've always been positive with it since you know, I have days where I get frustrated, like something like, you know, I'll get frustrated and my husband will be like, why are you upset? I'm like, because 1 month ago, I didn't need you to shampoo my hair. I could do that on my own, dude. right?
Yeah.
So things like that, but you can't live in that, right? You can be there, but you can't stay there. So I think you have to have the right mindset, because I think depression's a really, really big thing, they say, with it. And the home care nurse talked to me about that today, and I'm like, I don't feel I have any depression. I've never felt that. I said, I feel I have frustration sometimes. I said, but I don't stay there for very long. And then I think my God, I'm thankful.
Yeah.
Right. I get a second lease. Right. So if nothing else, I'm extremely thankful. Yeah.
Yeah. That is hugely important to stay positive. And I get that might be incredibly difficult for someone to do in the same situation, but something to look forward to, you had. I'm not saying it's the be all and end all, but at least the podcast was one thing to look forward to and that you're passionate about. But that you had the amazing support around you, and a great group of people looking after you. And I'm glad that they are checking in and asking those questions, so they don't sort of leave you to your own devices and assume that you're coping okay, but they sort of check in to make sure.
Yeah. And Sam, every night you're always like, how are you doing? And I always say, I'm good. And you're like, how are you doing? And I'm like, oh, right, I'm still good. Right. So,
yes, because when I ask the question, I actually want to hear the answer.
Yeah. So, So, and I think that's important, but I think you have to, because it can be so overwhelming, and you don't know what, like, before you go in for surgery, you don't know, like at one point they said to my husband and I, if we get in and things go wrong, we have to put her on a machine where she'll just be like unconscious and sleeping for 6 days. And when I woke, and like, that's crazy to hear, right? And when I woke up, I said to the nurse, I said, what day is today? And I don't remember what day it was now, but she told me, I think it was Friday, and she told me, and I said, but is it this week? Because I needed to know, right, like where did it all work, right? Did I get into the right week, or is it 6 weeks later? And I think even that, like, I never once believed that my time was up or anything like that. I never, even when I was having my heart attack, I never for 1 second let myself think that it was done.
Okay. Yeah. That is good. Millie 120 said, small goals, Lisa. Slowly wins the race. Sweet Pea from the UK.
Yes. And Sweet Pea's been an awesome support too, right? Sweet Pea sends me a message almost every day.
Does she?
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just small goals. Like the voice of reason.
Sweet Pea is actually a good connection for us too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because she's really our first official fan.
Yeah.
Besides family and friends.
She was our first
She's
fan.
our first official fan, and she's from the UK.
Yeah.
Yay. The original I Shake My Head with Lisa and Sam fan. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making it today. Yeah. That is cool. And it's cool that she's checking in regularly. American Liberty said, sending out prayers for speedy health. Thank you, Liberty. And I just wanted to go back to your symptoms for a minute. You said like the jaw and the vomiting. Was that just why you were coughing, or was it before? Yeah.
My
just
jaw,
why.
so what happened? So
No.
when
You don't remember this.
Oh, I don't remember. Sam's gonna reveal.
So the coughing sounded deeper and like she couldn't catch her breath.
Okay.
So when I went in, she has, I'm going to reveal, she has dentures.
I have fake teeth.
She has fake teeth.
We've revealed it.
Okay. And she had, because her jaw was hurting, she had removed her dentures from the bottom.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So, then you just sat there and you coughed and you were trying to catch your breath.
Yeah.
And then when I went to go grab Steph and we came back, that's when you started to puke.
Okay.
And then by the time she was really not being able to catch her breath and puking at the same time, her lips and her fingers turned blue.
Yeah, I saw my fingernails and I was like, oh, something's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not good.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to give that frame of reference for people to see how quickly that kind of happened. I imagine that wasn't a huge amount of time.
It was
Really.
minutes.
Yeah. It might have felt like a long time because that's horrifically scary, but it was a very quick amount of time.
Yeah, it went, like, I knew that something was wrong within minutes.
Yeah.
I knew there was a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. No disguising it.
No.
Yeah. So Thank you very much for being here to be able to
Thank
share
you.
your journey with us because, very important to be aware and so that we can send our love and support to you and just see your smiles and hear you laugh and that you're still doing it and all of the good things.
And I know that Sam appreciates everybody's support too. Like, it's just been amazing.
Yeah. Does anyone in the live chat have any questions that they want to ask Lisa and Sam while we're here? While you're on this continual journey of recovery, you're going to keep podcasting, but is there, you mentioned about, was it next year and traveling? So you're going to go back on holidays and things once you're all healed up? That's the plan? Carry on?
I believe, because to me, if we don't, well, I mean, Sam might think, really? But to me, I think if I don't do it, then I'm afraid, right? I don't want to be afraid.
Okay.
Right? You gotta do it. You gotta finish it off. That's what you gotta do.
Cool.
Finish where we left off. And I got a Blue Jays game to go see.
That's true.
Right? The HHG had gotten me, for my birthday, HHG had gotten me 2 tickets to go see the Blue Jays, right? That's our baseball team here. And I'm a huge Jays fan. So that was that day of my heart attack. We were supposed to be going to Toronto to go watch the Blue Jays. And I even thought, even though I had a heart attack, but they said that I was kind of stabilized.
Okay.
I said to the doctor, I said, that's good. I said, because I got a Jays game to go to. And he's like, yeah, you're not going to the Jays game. And I'm like, really? Like, I honestly thought for a while we were still going to go to the Jays game, hey?
No.
He's like, yeah, no.
So
Like,
are you
okay.
able to use the tickets for another game sometime? They weren't just for that
You know
one
what,
game?
now we're like 2 provinces away, right? So it's so you'd have to fly. It would be too expensive.
Okay.
So hopefully maybe for my 51st birthday, Michelle will buy us tickets.
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll plan the trip a little differently than what this year's was, but yeah, I think we'll do something. We'll do something.
Yeah. That's been something you've done together before. You've taken trips and done these things, and
yeah, like we've gone up to the lake. Yeah, we missed that too this year.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, like we've
It
gone.
was crappy weather anyways.
That's what I heard,
It was
right?
crappy.
So we
There
would
you
have been pissy. We would not have been happy. But yeah, so I mean, we've done those things before, so we'll do them again.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Steph in the chat asks, what podcasts do you listen to?
Oh.
Do I? Well, you know what? I listen to your podcast, Heather, all the time. I like Rough Giraffe.
With Stacey?
I love Rough Giraffe. I like Odd Dad Out.
Adam.
So I like listening to Adam. I like the one that your boyfriend does, Hate to Wait. It's a weight loss one. I know Annette listens to that one. And it's a weight loss journey. I think that's interesting.
And occasionally we listen to Brilliant Observations that Jessica Kufferman is also part of.
Yeah.
Cool.
And sometimes I'll listen to She Podcast.
Yeah,
too.
and She Podcast.
So it's pretty informative. You always like the varmints.
Oh yeah, the varmints.
Yeah, the varmints are fun.
Well, and then I've picked up one. It's called Southern Mysteries. I like a good mystery kind of thing, and that and the fact I like their twang, so that I like the so I listen to them.
So that's a few that we like. Yeah.
That's cool. I hear that accents are everything, apparently, according to Chris Osborne. So he was one of our guests yesterday. Lisa, will you still be able to have the $1 hot dogs? Is a question from Sweet Bee.
Okay, so apparently everything's in moderation.
Oh.
So I will be able to. I've been very fortunate that since I've been monitoring my diabetes, it's my reads are really, really good. Okay. So they actually are. They may end up actually lowering my medication. It maybe was some of the original reads may have been. They were saying this today may have been brought on by the 2 cupcakes. So when I had my heart attack, about half an hour before my heart attack, my sister gave us. She had these chocolate cupcakes right for my birthday. Yes. So I had ice cream. So I'd had 2 of those and some ice cream. Had a heart attack. Then they do my reads. My reads are through the roof. So now I poke my finger every day, and I have made changes to my diet and things like that. So you know what? Absolutely, I will have. I'll have the $1 hot dogs. You know it. Yeah.
Can't take away hot dogs.
And then just be really, really good after.
Yeah. Quick question on that then. What are $1 hot dogs for anyone who doesn't know?
No, no, just hot dogs, normal hot dogs.
And they just cost $1 or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on Tuesday nights at the Blue Jay game, they're $1, and the HHG gave us $4. So we could each have 2.
Cool.
So I'll cut back to 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I am honored that we connected way back when we did, that we're still connected, that you joined us last year, that your journey has grown with the podcast in the past year, and that despite this heart attack that's happened, that you're still here and you're going to go on strong, really, once you've finished healing. And thank you for listening to my show. And thank you for being here, because this one marks the 2nd anniversary of the Sunshine and Power Cuts podcast. And I know there hasn't been an episode for a little while, but there is one coming. It's been worked on. Yeah. And just, I want people to know that friendship is really important. And the fact that the two of you have such a solid friendship and have maintained that over such a long time is incredible. And it's one to celebrate. It's a huge, huge connection to celebrate. And yeah.
You know, we fight a lot, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's all
Not all sunshine and rainbows.
Sunshine and power cuts, I hear ya. Yeah. But despite that, you work through it and you have a laugh and you share that laugh with us, and you aim to be the is it the easiest or the lightest part of someone's day when they tune in?
Least stressful part.
Least stressful.
Of somebody's day. That's our goal. That's the goal of our podcast, to be the least stressful part of your day.
Yeah. And it's a lot of fun. So thank you very much for what you both do, for being here to celebrate Connections Day today, for sharing your story. And if anyone hasn't already but wants to, this is how you can connect with Lisa and Sam. They are I_shake_my_head on Twitter. I shake my head on Instagram and Facebook. And I've got a link to the podcast as the website link there on Podbean. But yeah. Stay sunny and bright, and enjoy the sunshine that's here out today and the rest of the night, evening. What time is it? I didn't remember.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Cool. The night is young, but hopefully get some rest and do all those good things.
Yeah. My night's over.
It's good. And good night.
Yeah. And we're done.
Cool. Thank you both, to everyone who came by the live chat. So cool to see you. And thank you, Lisa and Sam.
Thanks,
and we'll catch you again soon. Bye.